Hi, and welcome to the first of 3 videos that are going to show you a series of progressions that will help you develop a solid, fundamentally sound service motion. These progressions are something that I have developed over the years working with my one-on-one clients. These are things that I know that work from experience, and I just wanted to do a quick intro to let you all know who these videos are designed for. If you know that you have some big fundamental flaws in your service motion, like maybe you're not currently using a continental grip, maybe you don't have a very good racket drop, maybe your contact point is not the best, maybe you have a low contact point. These are all really, really important fundamental things that you need to have down really solid if you're ever going to have a high level serve. And these 3 videos, this being the first one, are going to take you through a series of 6 different progressions that will show you what to practice, how to practice it, to really train your body and learn what it feels like to hit all those certain points in your serve correctly. So this isn't necessarily for beginners, although beginners are going to learn a ton from this, and it's going to give you a formula of exactly what to do to build a solid foundation for your serve. But even if you've been playing tennis a really long time and you just know that you've got to make some fundamental changes to your stroke to really take it to the next level, these 3 videos are going to be really, really helpful to you. So here comes video 1 of 3. Make sure you check out all 3 and make sure to post some comments below if you have any further questions about this content. In this first video, we're going to go over the first 2 out of 6 progressions. Again, this is going to be a 3 video series. And the first part that we have to get out of the way as we start to kind of rebuild from the ground up and have a fundamentally sound service swing is the grip. And it's extremely important that if you're going to start from the beginning and really learn how to hit a serve correctly, that you use a continental grip. And I have that demonstrated right here. There's 2 most important parts to having a correct continental grip. The first part is where your big knuckle is of your index finger on the racket. And if you look at the bottom, if you look at the butt cap of your handle of your racket, you'll see that it's an octagon. There's 8 different angled sides to your handle. And if you put the racket straight up and down, like my racket is here, see this flat top part of the handle? That's bevel number 1. You want your index finger knuckle, the big knuckle, to be on bevel number 2. So that's the first kind of small angled bevel on the right. So not the big flat one all the way on the right, straight to the right if you're holding the racket straight up and down, but the small angled one in between the topmost bevel and the bevel on the side. This is if you're a right-handed player. If you're a left-handed player, then it's the opposite. You'll be on the first angled bevel on the left when your racket is being held straight up and down like this. So that's element number 1. The big knuckle of your index finger needs to be on the second bevel. And there's a little bit of wiggle room in there. You know, you can be a little bit more towards the top of the grip. My big knuckle here is a little bit more towards the top. You can be a little bit more towards the side, but be careful with that. That's where recreational players really get in trouble, is with more of a forehand ground stroke grip. That is not what you want. I'm not going to get into the why of that right now, but trust me, you want your knuckle to be more towards the top, at least in the middle of this second bevel, and if not, maybe even a little bit more towards the top. But we'll leave it at that for right now. So big knuckle on that second bevel, and secondly, we want your knuckles to be spread across the grip. Your hand should be spread out with your index finger curved up a little bit. You don't want your knuckles to be straight across the grip. Again, I won't get into the why of that for right now, but those are the 2 most important parts to having a correct continental grip for the serve, and this is what you should be using for your volleys as well. So moving on to the second progression in building your serve. Now that you know you have a continental grip, and please double check that, compare what I just showed you to what you're doing with your hand and your racket. The second progression is starting from a turned position, which is right here. You want your body and your shoulders to be perpendicular to the baseline. You want your feet to be parallel to the baseline. And if you want, you can have your front foot, your left foot if you're right-handed, your right foot if you're left-handed. You can have that angled as far as about 45 degrees or so. I'm just standing straight sideways here. You can certainly do that. Or if it's more comfortable for you to have your front foot angled, you can do that as well. It's not really a big deal. Just make sure that your body is sideways. Your dominant elbow, right elbow in this example here, should be pointed straight back towards the back fence. And you want to just rest your hand and your racket on your shoulder comfortably. That's pretty much it. And then from there, you're going to turn forwards so that your chest is facing towards the net. So you're going to make a 90-degree rotation with your body. My front foot stayed the same. Again, if it's more comfortable for you to angle your front foot a little bit more, that's totally fine. Don't go any further than 45 degrees. And as you rotate forwards, your hips and your shoulders and your chest should be facing straight towards the net. And you want to let that back foot just rotate and pivot and come up off the ground to allow yourself to fully rotate forwards. The other really important part of this is the reach. And this is emulating contact here for a good serve. So from your shoulder, you will rotate your body forwards and bring your racket all the way up so that you're making a full reach with your arm, a full reach with your shoulder, and you want to come up to a position in which your racket is totally flat so that it's perpendicular to the court surface. So full reach with your arm, flat racket face, body facing forwards, and I want you to repeat that with a continental grip a lot. If you're really rebuilding your serve from the bottom up, we need to get the feel for contact points, and we need to get a feel for body rotation forwards. So again, quick review. This is your starting position, sideways, elbow pointed back towards the back fence. Hand and racket just relaxed, just right around your shoulder is totally fine. We're not going to get any more complicated than that right now. Just make sure your elbow is pointed back towards the back fence and you're sideways. And then rotate forwards, reach up. And I encourage you to look. Now, let me go to a different one here. I didn't look till here we go. Most of these, I love my serve. It's one of the strongest parts of my game. But look at how I'm looking up towards the racket. Do me a favor and be very aware of this. Be very conscious of this as you work through this over and over again. And I recommend that before you go to the next progression, which will be in video number 2, you repeat this at least a good 5 or 10 minutes just to build up some awareness, build up some consciousness of what you're doing, build up a little bit of muscle memory so that you get a feel for what you should be doing here. That's the whole point. We're taking one progressive step at a time, methodically, and making sure that we hit all the correct points. And this progression is really focused on having the right grip and having the right contact point. So this is your finishing position. You're going to move to that position over and over again. And this is progression number 1. So make sure to go to the second video and the third video as well after that if you want to continue on this path to building your serve up so that it's fundamentally sound. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the second video.